work out? You just go around the place and...
Yeah, a lot of shooting was like, oh, yeah, chalega raha hai. Let's go. Let's camera nikalo and then shoot. Yeah.
Half the film was like a big adventure like that.
Yeah, we shot it about 2 in the morning when people are sleeping. We were going on knocking on doors, you know, and that was also without permits, you know.
You didn't go to a film school to learn?
No school. It's all pure passion, internet, YouTube. If I had a question, I will go online, find out, or I'll make mistake on set and pull my phone out, check, oh, no, this is not how to do it, let's do it again. It's all trial and error for me. My passion for cinema is there since I was a kid. Like, I love movies. I love the experience of going to a big hall, watching, the music is loud. I love that experience. Pretty lady, looking very nice. Can she really pull up this role? You know, because like I saw some work of hers, but she's bubbly and all that.
Yeah.
But the first day when Ravi called action and she performed, I was like, this is ACT. This is wow. You know, yeah. And she's a pretty girl, so it's not hard to make her look good. Yeah. But by the time they realize it's him, we're able to get the shot, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what are we shooting? A couple guys, like, just a short film, nothing, a student project, you know? And that's how we got away with stuff, yeah. Vamsi, who was my focus puller, and 2 assistants, 4 lights, 1 tripod, 1 shoulder mount, that was it. That's how we shot this movie. Yeah. We were at PVP office, and the scene is about her. And I brought the small camera. It's a big tripod head with a tiny camera, and she's looking like, this is the camera we're going to shoot on, you know, in her mouth.
Shaneil, thank you so much for joining us. It's a great pleasure to have you on the show. First of all, congratulations. You know,
thank you.
Your work as a cinematographer in Kshanam has been appreciated from all quarters. Like, everybody has been raving about your work. So it must be a great feeling to be so appreciated. Right?
Yeah, absolutely wonderful feeling.
So what's going through your mind? It's been 3 days since the film released.
3 days since the movie came out, and I finally got to see it yesterday.
Okay.
And the last time I saw it was about 3 months back when they were still doing all kinds of fine tuning without BGM and everything. And when I saw it yesterday, it blew me away. You know, how the team came together, and the edit is crisp, and you know, it's right to the point. The movie does not lag. I was very impressed with what the team came up with in the end.
Right,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Now, what's the best compliment that you've got for your work?
So far, the best compliment that I got is someone said that I made Vizag look like Malibu.
That was me.
That was you.
I don't know, this is so funny. And so everybody keeps reading my tweets or comments, and then they tell
They
me
come
the same.
right back to you, no? And for me, it was like, wow, you know, like we were definitely trying to make sure that every angle aspect we catch Vizag in the most beautiful possible light we can.
Right.
And by you saying that, it was like, okay, yes, I finally did my job right, you know. So thank you.
But seriously, how did you manage to make Vizag look so beautiful?
Yeah.
Right? And I remember a couple of, I think it was time-lapse shots. We were probably on top of Kailasgiri and to capture the shoreline of Vizag, right? So I found that very beautiful because probably that was an angle which nobody captured. Was it soon after the Hudhud cyclone? Because there's barely any greenery when you see from that hilltop.
Yeah, that was done. Absolutely, yeah. That shot was not done by me, by the way. I want to be clear. I don't want to take credit for something that I didn't do. Okay. So yeah, that shot was done after the, yes, absolutely.
After the cyclone,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
Right.
So
again, the love story, that flashback, it looks very, very pleasant, even from the writing perspective or the acting, but even your work, right? 2 very interesting lead characters, and your camera speaks in some mysterious way, man. I don't know how to define it. You'll have to help me out with that. Like,
so see, what worked first for the love story was the weather. It was rainy time, so we got there, it was overcast. So just nice soft lighting, which it just really helped us with the, you know, without, you know, first of all, this is a very small budget movie, so our tools were minimum, but the passion was huge. You know, everybody was ready to take on any kind of challenge that came our way. And with having that perfect lighting for like 4 days, just nice overcast lighting, and we were just able to really take the opportunity and, you know, capture this love story, you know, from the way we dressed our actors. So since we didn't have huge, big locations, so say we couldn't go out of the country, but Vizag was one of those places which already looks nice. And we chose like a rustic looking, it's an old building, you know, for the school.
Yeah,
we use that. But the way we put the colors, the palette of the outfits, it made them really stand out. Okay. So using these small techniques, we were able to kind of, you know, conceive a scene that look pretty decent.
Were you very particular about what colors that you wanted to use?
We worked with the costume designer, and we came with the idea that okay, these are things that would make them elevate the emotions in scenes. So she gave us options, and we picked from them.
Right, right. Now you said, and everybody has been saying it's a very low budget film, but your work doesn't seem so. You made it look very rich in every possible sense. So,
Yes.
what were the kind of challenges that you had to face while shooting the film?
Challenges. Yeah. See, first thing, when you say low budget, yeah, money is the biggest factor.
Yeah.
So that takes away a lot of things, such as getting better locations, junior artists. All that is kind of taken away. So it just came down to pure creativity. How do we put a frame and create depth at the same time, has as much possible props in the frame? So that was the whole idea. Like, okay, if this is the location we're using, what can we bring? I mean, there were times we brought things from home. We, 80s would bring things on set. Okay, this is from my house, let's put it there. That's how we made this movie, So yeah, using things like that, just being intuitive and just thinking outside the box.
Right.
Yeah.
Creating depth in a frame, is that a big challenge?
It wasn't actually. It came down to location. We always scouted locations which helped us. We never wanted to fight the light. We always wanted to embrace it.
Okay.
So locations were always like, okay, this has something that we could actually shoot at. So we just picked things like that. Yeah.
So how did it work out? You just go around the place and
yeah, we would
find an
scout.
interesting
Yeah, we
location,
would
just
scout,
shoot
and
there?
then a lot of shooting was like, oh yeah, acha lag raha hai. Let's go. Let's camera nikalo and then shoot. Yeah, that's what it came down to. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, a lot of run and gun shooting. Yeah, just take the camera out, put the actor, and knowing Sesh, you can put him in any environment, he'll perform, and he's not worried about where he is. He'll perform.
Right.
So yeah.
Now I want you to break down a scene for us. Like, what's your favorite scene, and why was it so challenging, and how did you do that?
The San Francisco airport. We didn't have permits. Sesh was like, yeah, let's go shoot there, and then the Union Square is a very busy place, where it's always people are there. And during lunch break, we decided to take 2 chairs, bought 2 cups of coffee, sat down with the actors, and there's people all around, businesses going there, wondering what we were doing, and we just shot without any permits, and a whole scene we shot there. And then we decided to go to the airport. We were in a taxi, we got out of the taxi, I took the camera out, we go into the airport without any permits, and we start shooting. So yeah, these were challenging because we didn't have time to, decide how we're gonna capture it. We just had the camera, and he was like, okay, we'll walk this way and we'll just do it. Like, okay, let's just go and do it. So some of these scenes just came out that way. We just captured the moment, whatever the moment was, we grabbed that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is your second film with Shesh
Yes.
that you're doing after Kiss, and this is a very different genre compared to your previous work. So when he told you that you're going to make a thriller,
Yeah.
so what were your discussions like with him?
Actually, he told me about the idea when I met him in December 2014, I think. He came down to see his family, and he's like, I just got this idea about a girl being kidnapped, or something like that would happen, and there's a guy who comes and tries to find her if she exists or not exists, kind of a thing like that. And I was like, that's a cool idea. Then finally, when he had the script and he narrated it to me, and then Ravi narrated the script to me, and I was like, yeah, we have something very interesting here, and imagine capturing that of a guy coming from outside the country and the hustle and bustle of Hyderabad, just throwing him in the elements, and he has to fight against that, and there's no one supporting his whole story. He's going through this whole thing by himself, So I was very excited. It's like, yes, we get to capture something, because I've never really shot in Hyderabad. When I came for Kiss, we shot in Vizag a couple of days, but not really in the thick of Hyderabad.
Okay.
And so I got really excited. It's like, yeah, we'll do this all in Hyderabad, going around places. I'm like, yeah, let's absolutely just go for it. Let's do it.
Right.
So
where Shesh and Ravikant, were they particular about anything, from you? Like,
Yeah.
this is what we wanted from the
yeah,
film.
see, one thing Ravi was particular about is like he wanted the handheld feel. Ravi and Sesh, they wanted that movie to feel, say, not gritty, but he wanted people, the audience, to feel like they're part of it. They shouldn't watch it as audience, but the emotion should carry that they're involved in the movie itself when they watch it. So they were very picky about, okay, how do we make it feel like these guys who are watching it, they're really part and experience every movement these guys, going through the gullies. We had a scene of Sesh going through, and we really want to make sure that people feel that.
Okay.
We shot it about 2 in the morning when people are sleeping. We're going on knocking on doors, and that was also without permits, So yeah,
Half the film was like a big adventure like that.
it was, it came down to just we all deciding, let's push our boundaries. Let's see how far we could go without somebody coming and grabbing the cameras and be like, no, you can't shoot here. So it was something like that. Yeah.
Now coming back to what you said, that they wanted a very immersive experience in terms
really
of the audience.
involved in the movie itself.
So how did you go about it once they gave you those instructions or whatever?
So I worked very closely with Ravi on this, and every day we would discuss what scenes we're shooting. He would explain the dialogues. He would explain what the mood he's trying to get, and from that, given we had minimum tools and locations and all those things that was hindering us, and you can say that, but we came with the idea like, let's add as much energy to the frames as possible. So whatever the disadvantages we made that our advantage. If a location was looking flat, it's okay. Let's change the blocking. Let's make actors move. Let's make the camera move. So the eyes don't fall into the background where there's nothing to see. So we did things like that to make sure that we really immerse people into the frames.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the film also has very few characters. It's not like a film with a lot of actors in it. So does it become challenging for you, or is it very
yeah, because if you think about it, the movie, a lot of the frames are just the main protagonist going through.
2 or 3 people in the frame. Right?
And so that's the idea of the movie was, since it's all about this protagonist going through by himself, and we see a lot of him in the movie, the editing was very precise. We had to make sure people don't get bored. And that was done really well, I think, for this film. And for my part, I'm sorry, what was the question again? What was the question?
Very few actors in the frame. So is it a challenging for you? Challenging.
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was challenging. It was. No, it wasn't challenging. It just came down to like how we cover all these things. Scene like if you look at the scene inside the ACP is interrogation scene. The movie, like you said, it's probably like 15 characters, all together. Right. But it wasn't challenging at all. Yeah, it was an energy-driven movie, so I didn't feel like, everything was driven by this guy. Where we're just pretty much following him through his journey. Right. And all the other characters were just coming and going. Okay. So it was never like a challenging thing, but we had to make sure that whatever we did and how we captured it, it didn't get boring or repetitive. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Now, the story unfolds from Shesh's point of view. As in, this is what I understood from the film. Like when I was watching it, when he comes down to India, he doesn't know anything about any of the characters or how did the incident happen. Yeah. And neither do the audience. We are as much clueless as he is. Right. So, because the story unfolds from his point of view, even for you, was it a process of discovery as you went by?
Absolutely. If you notice, the movie starts with, I don't know if it's possible to notice now, but it starts with static frames, similar frames. I mean, in the very beginning is very rough, the very opening scene, because of something very intense is happening. But then when we cut to the US, the frames are a little more steady, a little more stationary, more calmer. As the movie progresses, the camera's moving more and more and more. It's like really, just getting into it. So with the progression is very much, you can see that. Okay. So yeah.
Right. So was it a handheld style that you were trying out?
Yeah.
What cameras did you use?
We used 2 cameras. One is a Canon 1DC. Okay. Yeah. And the other one is my own personal Sony A7S. It's a tiny little camera.
That's your favorite, is it?
Yeah. So we use that because anywhere we had to put a car shot, camera in the car, we just use my little camera. It's a little bigger than the iPhone. Yeah, these are very tiny cameras. We chose small cameras. For once because of the budget. Second because we had to move fast. We have a big rig setting up all that stuff. We don't have time. So especially shooting on the streets and stuff, we had to be able to move significantly fast. Okay. So before people would even realize we're shooting, we need to get the shot and get out of there.
Oh.
Yeah. We're doing stuff like that. Yeah.
You never got caught in the process?
A couple of times we did, but
so what happened?
I just sweet talk them and they're like, yeah, we're shooting a short film here.
Nobody objects to that.
No objections. They're like, okay, cool, and then they walk away, and then we can get back to shooting. Yeah.
Do you know what shot was this?
Yeah, actually, a couple shot is this pawn shop we're supposed to be shooting at, and so obviously we couldn't take the 1DC because it's a little more bigger. It's a DSLR, pretty much, but the A7S is basically this big, with the lens. Okay. So I just put a wide-angle lens on. I went behind the counter, and Sesh comes. He pretends to be reading a paper and picking up the phone. So, but by the time they realize it's him, we're able to get the shot, And they're like, oh, what are we shooting? A couple guys, like, just a short film, nothing, a student project, And that's how we got away with stuff, yeah. So, yeah.
Now, when you're working with such small cameras, now I understand that people are shooting their entire films on iPhones, but um, what are the advantages or disadvantages of having such a small camera?
These
Advantages
days,
you told us that
you can move
makes
fast.
your
Yeah,
movement
the image
faster.
quality is very good. These days, all these cameras are coming with, it's a full frame sensor. It's amazing. Disadvantage comes down to, I would say, technically speaking, latitude. Like for grading purposes, when we're grading in post, you don't have the latitude the Red does or the Alexa does. The other disadvantages I would say is, for me, that's the only thing I would say. It's a post-production thing. But these cameras are so good these days that, I was fully convinced that we could capture good image, without worrying about having an Alexa or Dragon on set. It was all came down to me making sure that on set I was able to get the best exposures and all that. So in post, we could grade it fairly easy, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, these days, I think the disadvantage is very minimal. They're not like, before, but nowadays, these digital technology is amazing. So,
Right.
yeah.
Now, when I was interviewing Shesh few days back, he told me that initially, at least, he had a lot of disagreements with Ravikant in terms of how the film should be, how his characterization should be, and then they reached a common ground and they went ahead with it. When it came down to your work, were there any lot of heated arguments, debates over how we should shoot the scene, or what is the look of the film going to be?
Yeah, see, obviously, creatively, we all have our own ideas, and we had some disagreements on how this should look, how we're gonna present the movie. Initially we talked about let's go with a cool palette, make the movie look maybe a little bluish because it's thriller. But then we realized why force, and that's was something Ravi and I we were going for, But then we talked about it, and there was a little bit of confusion, and we were like, well, if we go blue, Hyderabad is already a very vivid, vibrant, and we were shooting in summer, so why should we force a palette on people, when the colors are already so like goldenish and dusky looking colors. So we embraced that afterwards. That was one of the reasons. I mean, initially I thought I was gonna go with this bluish hue for the film, just kind of give me a cold vibe because it's thriller. But then we just embraced the colors.
Okay.
So if you watch the movie, the palette is very minimum. It's not overly saturated. It's it's more like something that you can see from your eyes rather than something very artificial looking. Because we wanted that to make sure that it should not be too vivid, but it shouldn't be too dull either. So we found a common balance ground where we all three, me, Sesh, and Ravi, we all liked it. A balance, yeah.
Right.
So.
There's never a set where things went horribly wrong and you didn't know what to do?
Oh, let's see. Things went horribly wrong. As independent filmmakers, we have to prepare for the worst. Anything can happen, right? And like one time we were shooting with the car rig, and my lens just fell off.
Broke?
Yeah, it didn't break, but it just fell off. But the good thing was I had my backup camera, and so I was able to use that for some shots.
Right.
So the worst thing that happened was one day the primer, the A camera, just shut down. And for a small picture like this, every day counts. We cannot afford to lose a day. If we call to shoot, we have to shoot. I mean, we shot without union. It's a non-union project. It's me, Vamsi, who was my focus puller, and 2 assistants, 4 lights, 1 tripod, 1 shoulder mount. That was it. That's how we shot this movie.
Right.
Minimum equipment. So if anything went wrong, we would be pretty much in trouble. So we made sure we had my backup camera, my personal camera, the A7S. We used about 20% of that in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But majority of that was that Canon 1D?
Canon 1DC.
1DC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as a cinematographer, this is your second feature film?
Yeah, in Telugu. Yeah.
Okay, in Telugu, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you've done more work.
I've done one small project back in the States. It's a low budget, another Hollywood movie.
Okay.
Very small. And then I've done a bunch of commercials and all that stuff. But yeah.
Right. Now, as a cinematographer, what's your biggest challenge when you go to a film set? At least on day one, what's your biggest challenge?
For any movie you're asking, just
any film, 1 and 2 for a Telugu film,
Okay.
for a low budget Telugu film that you just worked on.
The biggest challenge I would say on day one would be understanding the crew.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously you get to meet them 2 months prior to, pre-production, but you cannot be in sync with them on the first day. It just doesn't work. It's something that you have to build. It takes maybe a week or 2 to understand how the whole team works. So from the first day you'll have miscommunications, you'll see how people work. It's not even about being creative, it's about managing people and the time. Because for any set, timing is the most important thing. You know, you can take an hour to set up a shot, make it look creative, but time means money. Producers always is tick tock, tick tock. So this is industry, it's a money-driven industry where creativity is very important, but money, you know, you can't be all taking this time and setting up a shot all day. So you have to be efficient and fast. So being efficient and fast, there's a couple of factors that contribute to that. Is how well do you plan?
Okay.
So in that sense, you can't go to set without seeing without seeing where you're shooting. You cannot have a team that you don't know what they're capable of. So these kinds of things, you know, always worried about on the first day. So I pre-plan for that. So you know, I plan really well. At least I try to. But with independent cinema, no matter how much you plan, something's bound to go wrong. It's just part of the deal. You accept that, but you always have a plan B.
Right.
So yeah.
On this film, was it the case, or
yeah, this film. Yeah, I'm talking about. So Kshanam was like, you know, when we finished rolling at 7 or 8 p.m. when we were done for the day, I would go home. I would charge the batteries myself for the next day. You know, so these kinds of things we had to do. Everybody had to have multiple jobs.
Right.
You know, this is the nature of the beast when you do a very low budget movie. You have to have multiple positions. You know, I'm shooting in the daytime. I am at the DOP, but in the evening I have to go charge those batteries again because no one else is going to do it. I have to double check the cards are formatted. I have to make sure the lenses are clean. Right. You know, because my AC is helping me in the daytime. You know, he's pulling the focus. But that's the only team I have is my focus puller. You know, I'm moving the tripod myself. He's moving the tripod. You know, that was the whole way we made that movie. You know,
right.
So
now, Shesh, apart from your work and screenplay, editing and writing, I think acting has been universally good in the film. Almost every actor has done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
So, how was it working with Shesh as an actor? For the
I
second
feel like
time
he's really evolved since Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah. Working with him on Kiss and then now, my whole thing I told him was like, bro, come as that, come on set as that guy, that character. Just absorb him as much as you can.
Right.
And him being a guy he's a multitasker. He was involved in the production side, the writing side, dialogues, everything. He was basically overseeing the whole project. I would say he was the energy that really forced this movie to happen. The way, without him, I don't think it was possible to finish this movie in the budget we were given. He ruled the team. Like, he made sure. Ravi Kant is the leader of the team. Ravi, the director. Yeah. But Sesh was the force, the energy behind the whole. He's like pushing the whole entire team to work. As an actor, he had so much on his mind besides acting. But I think he did a fantastic job. He evolved really well as Rishi in the movie. Yeah.
Right. What did you see him getting better and better as the film progressed?
Yes,
also?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Were there any scenes where you were bowled over by what he was?
Yeah, there was a scene when after she, passes away. The scene he's driving and contemplating and thinking about what has happened, and we were not expecting. I thought he was going to be. We put the camera and I was sitting in the front seat, just looking at him, checking over the monitor actually, from a small camera. We're just checking the monitor, and I start seeing him crying, and it's supposed to be a thing. He's reminiscing, thinking, and he just starts crying. And we were driving for about 700 kilometers, and he's just crying and crying and crying. And that day it was like, wow, okay, Rishi has arrived. Rishi is the character. That's the character. That's when I realized, like, wow, he's changed. The tone of the character has changed. Like the realizations, the things that happened. He really absorbed it, and for me that was like, wow.
Right.
Yeah. Really was impressed by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the film has a lot of mid-level shots and close-up shots. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much the whole movie is cut on, mids, close-ups, and some cowboys. We hardly went wides.
Right.
Hardly went wides.
Right.
And
was there a particular reason for that? No.
Yeah. See, the movie moves so fast that we want to make sure that at any point, if we cut to a very wide shot, it just kind of takes away from the emotion.
Okay.
So we try to keep it as tight as possible without making suffocating for the audience. Right. There's a couple of scenes that are wide shots, but yeah, we chose to stay away from wide shots. Ravi was very particular about getting what he wanted. So
was the idea to make people guess what's happening in these characters' minds? Was that the idea behind
the idea was to there's two things I think from what I understood, and one is so people could be really involved in the movie. If you make them really tight shots, you're forced to see the character. So you become part of it. Okay. The second is things are moving so fast. We already knew the movie was going to be cut very fast. We already knew that. So cutting from mediums and close-ups without giving people time to breathe. That was the whole idea. Like they need to be involved in this movie. They shouldn't. We shouldn't give them time to look at a frame and be like, oh, what's there.
Right.
It needs to be like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. I need to focus here. That was the whole idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, apart from Shays, who else is your favorite character in the film?
My favorite character. Okay, first I was this a little story. When I met Anasuya, I was like, okay, she's a pretty lady, looking very nice. Can she really pull off this role? You know, because like I saw some work of hers, but she's bubbly and all that.
Yeah.
But the first day when Ravi called action and she performed, I was like, this is ACT. This is wow. And I was amazed.
Right.
But my favorite actor is Satyam Rajesh.
Right.
I thought his performance was very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Right.
He just did a complete 180. You know.
No.
So yeah. I was very much happy with his performance. Yeah,
right.
That's my favorite.
Now, Anasuya, now that you have spoken about her, right?
Yeah.
She told me that it was your work which gave her a lot of confidence for her to push herself to do more and more. Right. So, did she tell you that on the set?
She did. After we started getting to know each other better, she opened up a little bit. Because the first day of set, we shot I remember very well. We were at PVP office, and the scene is about her. And I brought the small camera. It's a big tripod head with a tiny camera, and she's looking like, this is the camera we're going to shoot on, in her mind. So I took her aside, don't worry, first I was like, you know what, you're going to do a great job. And then we rolled the first shot, she saw it, and I think she got convinced, like, okay, yeah, we have something here. We'll be okay, So, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So.
Now, Satyam Rajesh, can you elaborate a bit further on that? So how was it working with him?
So Ravi really wanted to work with him.
Right.
He showed me some of his work, and obviously he's a comedian.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and so I met him at the gym actually a couple of times. Before he got hired, for the movie, and he was very excited to play the part. He's like he'll cut his hair, whatever, how he wants. He's willing to do anything for the role, so he fits into the role. Right. That was his whole idea. He wanted to really embrace the role, and I was like, okay, cool, let's see how he does it. But when he got on set, the delivery of his lines, the arrogance in his character, just the body language is just fantastic the way he did it. And I told right away after the first take, I went up to him like, sir, I know you're going to be the best. You're going to get accolades for your work. Yeah. And I'm really happy that people are really responding to his work.
True.
Yeah.
Even Ada Sharma looked fantastic in the film, right? I thought it was her best work till date, from whatever films that I've seen of her.
Yeah.
So now she's playing a very emotional role,
right?
She's the emotional core of the whole film, right? So what were your discussions with her? Like, did you have to work closely with her too?
We didn't have to work too closely with each other, but because she's a very fantastic actress actually. For a person who's a non-Telugu native speaker, she was really well able to emote those emotions and really get into character. So it made my job really easy. I didn't have to do multiple takes. Second of all, she's very good at remembering her lines. She could just, get things. And her continuity is amazing. She knows how her hands move in the last take, she do it again.
Okay.
So all that adds up to, for a short film, small movie that doesn't have much time, so we have to do multiple takes.
Okay.
So that helped a lot from our side, yeah. And she's a pretty girl, so it's not hard to make her look good. Yeah.
So I think you got lucky there, your heroine, Anasuya.
Yeah, everybody's just good looking. Yeah. So it's like, put up a frame, chalo, let's shoot. So
now, multiple takes. So what's the maximum that you have shot for?
Let's see. It's I think I don't remember what it was, but there was a day I think we did about 18 takes on something.
18 takes.
Yeah, I don't know what it was for, but we did a whole lot of takes. Because Ravi, even though he's a relaxed person, but he's very particular on what he wants.
Yeah.
He already knows what he wants.
Right.
So that day, he was very particular. He's like, no, it's not right. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Was that with Shesh?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of guy you tell him, okay, no, I need another one. No matter how much energy driven that scene is, he'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 18 is the maximum that you...
From what I remember, it could be more. It's been a while since I thought back, but yeah.
Right.
So
now, apart from this film, like every time your name is mentioned, people always talk about, his film went to Cannes, a year or two back. Was it?
Yeah, it was last year actually. Yeah,
2015.
Right? Yeah.
So what was that film about?
So there was a short film that I made called Layla.
Okay.
Okay. and our director shot it. I was a cinematographer and the director on that, and it was. It just came from I actually told Sesh the script a year before I shot it. And he was like, it's a fantastic idea, you should get it done, make it and do it. So I was just humbled at the response that he was able to get into the festival, and he got good positive feedback from that movie, yeah.
You went to Cannes?
Yeah, went to Cannes.
So how was that experience?
It was great. It was phenomenal. I got to see some amazing films by some amazing filmmakers, met some of these people, and just the energy there is, I went with the idea that my film's there, I'm gonna have some fun, I'm gonna meet some people, enjoy the scenery, sit by the beach for a bit, make it like a little bit of a vacation. But the energy there is full of people who are passionate about cinema.
Right.
And people from all over the world come.
Right.
And I got to meet so many amazing folks. And after that, coming right back to, we went right to Vizag actually, right after that. The energy was amplified for me to work.
Okay.
It made me want to work harder, just to see. I want to get to that other plateau, I want to get to the level of Masan did, getting that to the level.
Right.
So yeah, it was very nice. It was like recharge.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shesh can thank you for going to Cannes for your work in this film.
Honestly, it's. I have to say this again. It's just we shot for almost 87 or 88 days over a span of a year and a half, maybe.
Maybe a lot.
It's a lot. It took a lot of energy from people, a lot of dedication on this project by a lot of people. It was a small team, but everybody who were there from day one pretty much stayed there till the end of the movie. And it came down not because there was money involved. People were not getting paid much because it's a small movie.
Right.
But passion, dedication, and really the love of cinema was there for everybody. The ADs, these guys are the behind the scenes. These are people who made this movie really happen. They held it together, doing all the work, all the dirty work, getting things done. We cannot thank them enough. I would say, yeah. So it's a team effort. It was 15, 20 people who made this movie. Not even that much actually, I would say. Yeah.
That was your entire crew on set?
Crew on an average day of shoot was like 4 ADs, 4 people from my side, and 1 or 2 makeup men, the actors. That's it. We hardly had caravans. People were sitting in cars, AC we had to use Sesh's car for, turn the AC on for the actors to keep them cool, the makeup won't melt away. We did those things, It was made in a very interesting conditions, So, yeah.
I want to know more about your life,
Okay.
How did your interest in cinema begin? Were you always a cinematographer's thing, or?
I started off studying finance.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This was back in San Francisco?
Back in States, yeah.
Okay.
But my passion for cinema was since I was a kid. I love movies. I love the experience of going to a big hall, watching, the music is loud. I love that experience. It started from that. I always loved the way it made me feel when I walked out of the theater. I felt like I was somewhere else. I felt energized, So that emotion that I took away from a movie, that always stuck with me.
Okay.
And that I found to be the only thing that I enjoyed more than anything else in life. So that was the way I started getting into movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But did you set out to become a cinematographer, or was it something
Yeah,
else?
actually, I was a photographer first, doing lots of kinds of photography, and I always set out to. I love directing as much as I like cinematography. They go both hand in hand. I think it's right and left hand. You need both hands to make it happen, a movie. Yeah. And cinematography is something that I realized early that I had to do everything on my own in order to write a story. Starting by myself, I couldn't hire someone with a camera. So I picked up my own camera.
Okay.
I started shooting things myself.
Right.
And then I developed an eye for cinematography. That's how it all started, yeah.
Oh, you didn't go to a film school to learn?
No school. It's all pure passion, internet, YouTube. If I had a question, I will go online, find out, or I'll make mistake on set and pull my phone out, check, this is not how to do it, let's do it again. It's all trial and error for me.
So how long did that process take place?
I started doing this, about 10 years ago, and I would say the first 3 years was just pure learning experience, pure making mistakes.
Right.
And I encourage everybody to make mistakes and learn. I mean, not on somebody else's money or time, but at home,
Right.
So yeah. But that's the way I learned.
You made a lot of short films.
Helped on a lot of shorts, a lot of music videos, a lot of commercials. I would, honestly speaking, I would go on big Hollywood sets and just look how they were doing lights. Go next to the camera, see what the settings was. I would ask questions, take pictures, and then implement that on my set. So I learned like that, you know. I had to just bare knuckle, rough it up, you know. So that's the way I learned.
Right.
Yeah, no school.
But you did eventually graduate with a finance degree.
Yes, I did get my degree, but not a single day did I work in that field. It was for my parents, like,
Yeah.
Dad, here it is, now leave me alone. So that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you have an Indian connection because you grew up in the States and I
Yeah.
believe that you're from Fiji? Like,
Fiji Islands, yeah. Born and raised in Fiji.
Oh.
Family left India close to 170 years ago.
Right.
So our connection with India was Bollywood movies. That's how we grew up. We learned about everything through movies, actually, pretty
Right.
much. You know, like that's we thought, okay, this is what it's, you know, culture and all that stuff. So, but we retained a lot of it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So
When did you move to States then,
that
from
was
Fiji?
about 25, 26 years ago.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all the college and learning and all?
Yeah, everything was done. Yeah, I was a kid when I moved to the US. I mean, to US. Yeah. From
No, you said 25. You were 25 when you moved to US?
no, 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was a
So
kid
you-
when.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right.
yeah, yeah. We moved a long time back. Yeah.
So what do you remember from Fiji? Like, do you remember anything about your childhood
Yeah,
days?
everything. Yeah, because my grandparents' house is right by the beach, so that's the biggest thing I miss all the time is going to staying on the beach and just diving, all that fun stuff. Doing all that. Yeah,
Right.
and Indian movies are watched avidly in Fiji.
True.
Yeah,
True.
so,
right.
yeah.
Do you still have family there? in
I do.
Fiji?
My grandparents are still around there. Yeah, yeah.
So what? Yearly once you go there?
Unfortunately, since I've been busy with Kshanam and now this movie I'm working on, it's been about 3.5, 4 years actually 5 years since I've been back.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So it's easier to fly to Fiji from here than go back to the States. So maybe I'll do go the other way around, see my grandparents. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now, in terms of cinematography, do you have a favorite cinematographer? Like, who do you look up to most?
You know what? My favorite cinematographer I would say is Roger Deakins. I love his work. He's a very minimalist guy. I love the way his compositions are very much about the story. He doesn't interfere with the film. His cinematography never interferes with the movie. The second, I feel, and I think, I don't know if other people share the same opinion or not, but the second the camera movement dominates the frame or dominates the emotion of the storytelling, is the wrong thing, because the movie, every other art is supposed to reinforce and elevate the performance of the actors rather than distract the audience from what they're doing. So I feel like cinematography should be minimalist. It should capture what it's supposed to do, but should not interfere with what's happening.
Okay.
Interfere in the sense of like movements of the camera should not be too. It should be conceived for a purpose, but should not be there to distract.
Right.
That's my feeling. Yeah, and he does that fantastically, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, talking about composition, framing, and camera movements, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, everything comes down to how the script is written and what the director wants from
Exactly,
that
exactly.
idea. But
Yeah.
if given a choice, I'm sure you're doing everything you can to elevate the actor's performance. But is there any quirk of yours which you would like to reinforce in your work? If you are given a choice.
If I was given a choice, I would love to do. Let's see. I enjoy. I'm a director cinematographer, so I want to capture what he wants.
Yeah.
That's my job. But I also want to make sure that I'm old school style. I like to set up a frame and see the actors perform. So we don't do that much these days. It's all about cuts.
Yeah.
I mean, a movie like Kshanam needs it. It dictates that.
Right.
It's absolute. It needs it. But I would love to see a performance-driven scene where I could slowly just push the camera without doing set up here, go here, go here. I don't want to shoot like a music video. I want to be able to just do a nice slow push on some things. Like things like that we don't do much anymore. I feel like
What's the biggest challenge in that? Is there a challenge in doing that old school style of?
These days, it's obviously because people are so attention span is less.
Yeah, I know.
The second a scene gets boring, someone will pull their phone out in the theater and start texting.
Right.
So that's why these days things are cut so fast. The music has been elevated to keep the attention there, and but I've realized movies are moving back to that longer takes, more performance driven than edit driven or camera driven.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a movie like Spotlight, if you look at that Oscar movie, I watched it about a week ago, and it's heavy on the dialogues. The movie doesn't have anything in the sense of it's not an action movie, but it's heavy on dialogues. But the way it's captured, it's phenomenal actually. You never for a second feel like you get bored or anything.
Right.
So
what's coming up next for you?
Next, right now, I'm working on Suman's project. It's a remake of Vicky Donor. It's a comedy. So it's a fun one actually. Yeah, so
Big genre shift again.
Yeah, exactly. So
is that more fun? Like, does the genre dictate your work? A lot.
I mean, it dictates the composition, the color palette, all that. Okay. Absolutely. But it's fun. The director is really funny guy. So he's enjoying. So he makes the set really fun to work in.
Okay.
So we're having a great time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's also very much a lot of movement. I guess I'm the guy who does a lot of movement in the industry now with the shoulder mount. I'm the shoulder mount guy with the camera on his shoulder, just run around and shoot. Yeah. So this is another movie that I've taken that from Kshanam now to this set. Yeah.
Right.
So
we'll talk more about that film probably in a future point of time. But do you have a goal, like just come into the film industry, at least in Telugu film industry? 2 films old, now you're working on your 3rd film.
Yeah.
Especially with Kshanam, everybody is raving about your work, and I'm sure a lot of offers would pour in for you in future. But is there an idea that you want to work on? Is there an agenda or goal?
Yeah, my goal is actually, to be honest, cinematography doesn't have a language. I could work in Thailand, I could work in Taiwan, I could be anywhere. That's the best part about my position. I could be as long as I can understand the scene and what the director wants, I could work in any place. So my whole thing is, coming to Hyderabad was 2 things. One is to see this country, to work with different people, and just travel. They pay for my ticket. I get to travel. What else can I ask for? I got the best job in the world.
So where else have you traveled in the country?
Unfortunately, not many places.
This is how it's gonna be.
Yeah. So it is like, 'cause back-to-back projects now. It's I'm still shooting here,
Right.
but my whole goal is to first get better at my craft. I feel like it's always never-ending learning process to any creative field or anything actually. So I just want to absorb and learn as much, because in India I would say India cinematography is different from Hollywood. There's 2 schools.
Okay.
This lighting pattern is different. The taking of a shot is different. And the Hollywood style is very different. So it's not that this is right or this is right. It's people prefer something different here sometimes. People prefer something different back home. So it all comes down to 2 different schools. So I'm also learning some techniques.
Okay.
The way things are implemented here. People love vivid frames. They love bright, bold colors. They love beautiful looking frames in India.
Right.
And I come from a school where subtlety is best. So I'm learning that. So for me, it's a long process. So I'm learning all that. I'm absorbing there's so many fantastic cinematographers in this country, and I'm studying their work. I'm watching all these movies, and hopefully I get to go on their set one day and see how they do things, so I can learn.
Anybody in particular whose work fascinates you in India?
Let's see, names wise, who can I? I don't know the name of that guy. I forget. But
okay, what film was this?
He did Kamine.
Okay.
It's a Bollywood movie, is very nice. And of course, PC Sriram's work is fantastic.
Okay.
Ravi Chandran's work is phenomenal. These guys are amazing talents, powerhouses of the industry, giants of the industry.
Right.
I would love to go on the sets and see how they do things. For me, I'm younger than them, and I have so much to learn. Right. And I'm sure there's so many techniques they use that I could just learn from them.
Right.
So I'm always open to learning so much from these big boys. Yeah. So yeah.
Right, Shaneil, thank you so much for joining us. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
All the
so
best
much
for your career ahead, and we hope all your dreams come true.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.